showing us the way.
Unmute, Kim.
Oh my goodness, happy Saturday. I'm on mute. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday. It is community coffee time. I am Kimberly Holmes Ross with Evanston Cradle to Career and the Advocates for Action Community Coffee. And we're here this morning with our grantee, author of curriculum Get Up, Girls Empowered to Thrive Under Pressure. And we're just not talking about girls today. We're talking about anybody under pressure. And we're going to try to empower them to thrive. We're talking about bullying today. We're talking about bullying. So please share this video, let people know we're on, and I'm going to turn it over to Abigail. Thank you for joining us, Abigail. And Judah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm super excited. So hopefully my energy might be on 1,000 today, because the biggest blessing of my life, I believe, is my motherhood. And I have my son, Judah, with me. Judah means praise. Sometimes people get it confused with Judas, which actually has caused him some bullying. But it's Judah, Judah. That's my baby. And okay, he's not a baby anymore. He is 15 and he's joining us, and he's going to share his story. And first, I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'm pulling it up right now. Okay, thank you. Judah is also my best tech person ever. So he's helping me pull up this screen here. Okay, so we want everyone to be against bullying. Okay, so that's what I entitled this. And so everyone against bullying. But first, I am going to start again with our grounding exercise. If you saw last week, you already know what this is about. But for anyone new that is joining us, I want you to know that when we feel overwhelmed by anxiety, or we feel triggered by an event or some information or something that we're seeing or hearing, it can take us back to a certain place that connects with some trauma that we've experienced or something we've experienced. And so it's very important to be able to stay in the moment. So I'm hoping this will be a good takeaway just for everyday life. We can encounter something that could be overwhelming to us, and we need to stay in the moment. So in this moment, you can relax your body, take some deep breaths, and focus on 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Now, don't use this as an excuse to make a cheat in your diet, but it will be good to help you stay in the moment. For the sake of time, please just pick something you can feel, okay? Something you can feel right now. Pick up your cell phone, because I know it's right by you, or touch. You can tap yourself. I can tap my neighbor, but that will allow you to remind your body, here's where I'm at. You're not in this story. You're not, having to be overwhelmed by something that happened to someone else, because some things we bring up may be triggering, because unfortunately, most of us have been bullied. Okay, so not everyone here has children. I know this. I'm going to stick with childhood bullying because I wanted to involve my son and to share his story. But bullying actually can happen to anyone. There are plenty of people who get bullied in the workplace. Maybe you're happy you get to work from home because you don't have to be around that bully in your office. So I know this. Hopefully there'll be some takeaways, some inspiration, even though it's not really geared towards your age group, because experts say that it peaks around middle school age bullying. And plus, as adults, we oftentimes have more resources. We also have a developed voice to be able to advocate for ourselves. But we need to stand up and be the voice for those that don't have a voice, or be a guide for children. So it may not be your child that this information will help, but you know what? It could be your neighbor. It could be your niece. It could be your nephew. We need to be the village more now than ever. We need to be there for each other. We need to advocate for each other. We need to stand up for each other. And this was an African proverb. No offense to any fans of Hillary Rodham Clinton. She's amazing, but this was actually not her phrase. She utilized it, but it's an African proverb. So let's, I'm going to go ahead and skip to allowing my beautiful son. This was my son. I'm showing a picture right now of when he was 8 or 9 years old. So this was around the time that he started experiencing bullying. So I'm going to allow him to share his story of bullying and how it affected him.
All right. First off, I want to say good morning to everyone. I hope everyone's having a
Judah, we can't hear you.
Oh.
There we go.
You hear me now? Okay. I said, first of all, I wanna say good morning to everyone, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. So yeah, like my mom said, I was 8 when I first started like really experiencing bullying. I have a story where I was in school and I was signing up for a dance class because I've been dancing all my life. I love to dance. It's been my passion since I was little. And as I was doing that, one of my bullies came up to me with his friends and started throwing insults at me, saying I can't dance, I shouldn't sign up for that, I suck at dancing, I should stop dancing. And the friends around him that I thought were also my friends started to kind of betray me and jumped in and started making me feel bad. And it really made me feel like rejected, and it started to make me like rethink and really wonder if I was really good as I thought I was at dancing. And it kind of crushed my spirit. And to this day, I haven't signed up for another dance class. So that just shows like how much it really can affect a person. So yeah, that's it. But I just wanted to show that how bullying can really affect a person, especially a child. I was so young, I didn't know that could affect me as much as it did.
Well, Jonah, thank you for Judah. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry, baby. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And we're going to get you in a dance class. We're going to get you in a dance class. But you're right. Bullying is really impactful, and it can carry on with you until adulthood. Things people say to you and how people make you feel. So I'm going to give it back to the expert, Ms. Abigail. But thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't actually have a picture. I've unfortunately moved a lot to where I don't have a picture of when I was the age that I remember most distinctly being bullied. But I transferred in 5th grade from Catholic school to the public school. And at Catholic school, my sister and I were the only 2 Black students. And that was a different type of atmosphere that I experienced that we don't have time to go into. But I was happy when I transferred to the new school to be around more people who were Black or people who of color, because I felt like I thought I would be more accepted. But probably day 2, I was called a very profane word, and I was notified that I was PISS colored. More profanity you all don't need to know. And so all of a sudden I was really shocked that my color was a problem at the school that had Black students. I was like, it was another culture shock, to say the least. And it was very painful because I'm like, okay, I wasn't accepted all the way over here, and now I'm not accepted even among my own people. Colorism is a whole nother issue I wish I could do a show on, because I feel like it can be even more damaging than racism, because racism is like from the outside, and colorism, it is a part of racism, but internalized, and it's within our own community, our own people. So like there's something of extra weight added when you're rejected by your own people. And so this went on and on every day. I was advised I wasn't the right color. I was too fat. I wore glasses. All of this was problematic to everybody, it seemed, at that school. And see, one of the things that Judah brought up is like, when you feel like some people are your friends and then they join in with the bullying, it's like bullying is a group sport, and experts have found that it increases the damage when more people jump in, and that actually bullying is less fun and people are more likely to fall back from bullying a person when they don't have an audience. So like, it's extra painful when the people you think are your friends or the people you think should be on your side all join in. So everybody joined in and letting me know I was not acceptable in any way. And then the Caucasian students and the Latino students and the biracial students and everybody, it seemed like, was not on my side. And it was very, very painful. Well, my dad didn't know what was wrong with me. They just know that like my demeanor changed and everything. So my dad found out one day that I was being bullied, and he found out the ringleader's name. So my daddy was very protective of me. God rest his soul. He did pass away in 2018. But when he was here, okay, nobody could mess with me. And so my daddy found out where this lady lived, okay, and he went to visit the mother of the bully. And so when my dad confronted the woman and said, you were bullying, your daughter is bullying my daughter, and I want to discuss this. You know what she said? Prepare yourself. She said, well, you should have taught that little bee how to fight. Woo, honey. My daddy don't say that, okay? And fortunately, he took a friend with him to hold him back, because, I mean, that pushed all the thermonuclear meltdown and explosion buttons. And my daddy was really upset. So I didn't know this story until like 3 years before he passed away. But my dad came home. This is the part I know. He grabbed me and was like, come on, let's go, and took me down into the basement. And next thing you know, he was teaching me how to box. So I learned how to box for about 2 hours that night. And honestly, I mostly learned how to take a hit And so, because my daddy was really upset, and he was like, "Yeah, duck, jab," and I was not good at this. I was not prepared. Okay, so yeah, I kind of missed the mark on that. But the next day, I went to school and I picked a fight with this bully. Like, you're not gonna mess with me anymore. Okay, I said all that to say I don't recommend that as the course of action. Please do not go to the house of the bully. Okay, nowadays people have guns and everything, and what I learned from that is that the parent of the bully could be just as bad as the bully, if not worse. Perhaps these behaviors were learned from the mama or whoever is in the house, but do not do that course of action. I would prefer to recommend avoidance as far as physical bullying and verbal bullying. But I put this picture on the screen because this is a picture of when I appeared in Empire. I brought this up because when I posted this picture online, and it was like one of the happiest times of my life, because my dad was very, very critical person and not very affectionate. Like I said, he would protect me, but he wasn't the most affectionate, giving praise type of person. And this day that I appeared on Empire, I got a lot of screen time, and it's the number one. It was the number one show in America at the time, and I got a lot of screen time. And I found out from my niece that my daddy ran through the house screaming, "That's my daughter! That's my daughter!" And I had never really seen my dad act that proud of me, like going nuts, So I was so happy. I was so proud of that moment. And then here came the cyber bullies. So I said I wasn't going to talk about adult bullying. This happened to me as an adult, but I want to let everyone know how demoralizing it was, how I'm literally almost in tears telling you all the story. And this is me at 40 fabulous years old, okay? And it hurt me. Next thing you know, there's over 600 comments. I mean, they're talking about my double chin. They're talking about the fat roll on my neck. Then they pulled up other pictures of me, and they were like, "Look at her teeth. Look at her eyes. Look at this. Look at that." I mean, they tore me apart. And it was so painful. I didn't know how I was going to show my face again. And I spent 40 years plus in this life, and it was hard. And I said that to say cyberbullying is the new thing that we didn't experience, a lot of us, when we were 10 or 12. But it is even worse, because just imagine if you walk in a classroom of somebody making fun of you, how many other students are there? 28 or whatever. Now, because of COVID, there's 10, 12 people in a classroom or whatever. If they all make fun of you, yes, it's painful, it's one thing. But imagine these children getting 600 comments of how they look, torn apart. And I mean, not like my son said, his other friends jumped in, strangers jumped in. I don't even know these people. And you would think that would make it easier, but it didn't. I'm here, I'm confessing. It didn't make it easier, and the fact that I got bullied a lot in my life, it just connected to all that pain, and it was horrible. And there are young people taking their own lives because of this cyberbullying, even more than the bullying in person. The internet, it lasts forever. And so, yes, this was that moment when I was cyberbullied. And it was an extremely painful situation. I think it's very interesting that on television, a lot of times bullying is shown so much on movies about youth because it's still pervasive. I was bullied. My son was bullied. My daddy was bullied because he was smart. And so the other thing I want to say about that is it's so easy for me to say oh, I was bullied because I was fat. my dad was bullied because he was smart. But that's actually wrong, because that's like internalizing the attack and the victimization of being bullied. And no, I was not bullied because I was fat. I was not bullied because, oh, I have a double chin, which I do have a double chin, or however I looked when I appeared on Empire. I was bullied because people are mean, and unfortunately they give in to that lower nature, or maybe their own insecurities. But we cannot embrace their as some excuse for why we were bullied. My son, he thinks he was bullied because he could dance good. No, he was bullied because those children were being mean and other people joined in. And this has been a pervasive problem, and we all need to stand up against it. I also mentioned in my story that my daddy didn't know what was really going on with me. He just knew that that all of a sudden I was not the happiest little girl like what I used to be. And he was very concerned about that. So I want to go over quickly. This time it just goes so fast. But I want to go over quickly. You need to be able to identify, not just in your child, but your niece, your nephew, the neighbor's child. If all of a sudden they change, their demeanor change, we need to be that village and look out for these youth, because even if me as an adult was almost broken down by cyberbullying, what of these children that don't know the things that we know as adults, that don't have a developed voice? I'm a public speaker. I can say whatever in front of audiences, but I was rendered speechless when all those people tore me apart online. Okay, so if they have unexplainable injuries, the shame of being bullying. Like even last week I talked about, I was so ashamed of being abused in the hospital. I didn't even tell people what really happened to me. So imagine a child, they might have some injuries. They keep on making up excuses why they were injured. If their belongings come up missing, because in those movies, the classic bully was always shaking down the other child for their lunch money or something. If they keep on saying they have headaches and they don't feel good and they can't go to school, well, why is that? Frequent nightmares, difficulty sleeping. I used to teach Sunday school, and there was a child that kept on, unfortunately, urinating on himself, and then that made the other kids not like him. But I probed this situation. I asked him probing questions, and I found out he was being bullied by his older brother. And so once the parents addressed that bullying by the older brother, then he was able to do well. If they avoid social situations, they feel helpless. Look, bullying gives way to despair and feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. And unfortunately, that is why it can lead to suicide. We have added some numbers in the end, but I came up with my method to teach my son how to avoid being bullied. Now, if he's honest, he will tell you that a lot of times he did not do this, but he admitted to me that if he did, then he wouldn't have got in trouble at school, because most schools and workplaces, if you're bullied in the workplaces, they have like a no fighting policy or whatever, like where if two students end up fighting, then both of them will experience punishment. So the thing is to try to avoid having to fight or being pushed to where you feel like, or you're going to fight, and don't make fighting the number one go-to. My recommendation is to get loud, like, hey, stop bullying me, stop hurting me, stop pushing me, stop harassing me. Even in the workplace, if you say this loud enough, it will get people's attention and they will know you're not the aggressor. And get away from the person. Can a person hit you, push you, spit on you, kick you if you're not within distance? No. A person's legs and arms are only so long. So I told my son, get away from the person as quick as possible. And then before you go into fight mode, get into block mode while you're still saying, hey, don't mess with me. Hey, get away from me. You know, that's why we have to teach our children to have a voice, to stand up for themselves. And then if they're pushed into a corner where their harm could be imminent or they're in danger, then they may have to fight back physically. But that's a last resort, and always report, report, report. You can't be so scared of bullying that you don't say anything, because silence is consent, and it also will allow it to continue. So we need everyone to stand up against bullying. There's a quote by Albert Einstein: this world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, because guess what? An evil person is born every minute. No famous person said that, but I said it, and it's the truth. But because of the people who don't do anything about it. We all have the power to stand up. I'm not saying get in harm's way, but sometimes just standing there and being a witness, sometimes just standing there and not being a silent witness to say, hey, why are you bullying that kid? Hey, why are you messing with that person? Stop it. Use your voice. Stand up. Be a voice for that other person. I really hate that my time is up. And for some reason, it's not going to my last slide about the national numbers. But if you are experiencing suicidal thoughts, if you are, if you're experiencing suicidal thoughts, if you need someone to talk to, we have two resources. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-TALK. And we also have somewhere you can text to if you need to reach out. Please don't harm yourself. Please don't feel hopeless. There is someone there you could talk to. And guess what? There is also someone who's experienced the same thing. You can text HOME, HOME, to 741-741. Thank you all for listening. Please share. Someone needs this information. Someone needs some hope today, and to realize that they're not the problem. How they look is not the problem. It's the other person. And together we can make a difference and stand against bullying. Thank you, everyone.
Now, Abigail, thank you. And Judith, thank you so much. We're going to go out and we're going to be upstanders. We're going to do something about this. Bullying has to stop, and we have to start somewhere. And the cyberbullying, I'm so glad you touched on that, has gotten out of control. We shared some numbers with you. We'll make sure we put them in the comments. Please, if you're being bullied, or you know someone being bullied, or you're an adult who wants to talk about bullying and learn how to be an upstander, use these numbers. And let's try to put a stop to this. The Advocates for Action will be at Robert Crown today. Please join us at 2:00 to celebrate our own advocate, Marquise Weatherspoon, as she takes a seat at the table with School District 65. So we hope to see you this afternoon, and we hope that everyone has a safe and happy Saturday. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Advocates for action, showing us the way. Advocates for action, showing us the way. Oh, showing us the way.
I have children, small kids at that, and my grandfather, my mother, my family.
I work in restaurants. I felt like not only around my coworkers and keeping customers safe, I felt that was important.
To keep myself healthy and also part of a larger Evanston community, and to keep my friends, family, and neighbors safe.
I serve in a capacity in a company that specializes in early childhood and early Head Start, and a lot of the children around educators. So I am taking this shot for them.
I am a part-time caretaker of my 84-year-old mother, who is obviously in the category of most vulnerable. And I also have younger children. Also have a wife that I care deeply about.
I want to keep everyone safe as well as myself.
Not only myself, but my family, my wife, my children, and my congregation.
I thought it would be a good opportunity to keep others safe as well as my family.
In order to be safe and to maintain safety for the people I care about, I needed to get the shot.
I think it's important for all of us to kind of take care of each other as well as ourselves.
It's important to our community, it's important to our family, it's important to the world.
To do my part for us to get past this pandemic as a community.
I was skeptical about it at first. Yes, I was one of the ones that created this as a joke when this first came out. But then I started to see family, friends, people that I knew pass away from this horrible, horrible disease. Please, it is something real. Get it done.
It's important for people that are Black and brown to understand the importance of being vaccinated. It's important for you to know that being vaccinated means that you're showing your care and your love for your family members because you interface with them on such a regular basis, your neighbors, and of course, everybody else in the community. As a pastor of a church, I'm very excited about that because it also means that we will be able to reopen our doors for in-person worship.
I want to be a part of the solution to make sure that we are able to get back to a place where we can all come together and share and love on one another.
Show us the way. You show us the way. Action. Advocates for action.
You've been listening to Evanston Cradle to Career Advocates for Action on Radio La Difference. Please tune in again next Saturday at 10 a.m. for another show. Now stay tuned for your Saturday morning jam with Mr. Mon. Thanks.
Advocates for action. Showing us the way. Showing us the way. Advocates for action. Advocates for action. Showing us the way. Showing us the way. You're showing us the way. You're showing us the way. You're showing us the way.